Welcome to Lifeword's Day by Day, where we're talking about 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 25 through 27 today. It reads this way: Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and I keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Earlier in the week, I mentioned that Paul was making reference to the Ismean Games, comparing running a race and winning a prize to the Christian life. And then Paul says here at the end that he doesn't want to be disqualified. Now, some have taken that as having lost his salvation, that Paul loses his salvation, but that's not what is being talked about. In the Ismean Games, an athlete would train for 10 months out of the year, and then in that last month, that athlete would report to the site of the games for continued training and to prove that they had been training for the games. That athlete would undergo rigorous testing to prove that they were ready to compete. If they couldn't prove that, then they were disqualified from participating in the games because, well, no one wants to pay money to see average people compete. We want to see the best. So when Paul says that he doesn't want to be disqualified, he isn't talking about not being allowed to go to heaven, and he's not talking about losing his salvation. He is talking about not having an effective ministry. He is talking about bringing reproach upon the gospel. He is speaking of his life and his message, and he wants those two things to line up. And those two things not being in conflict, which would cause people maybe to walk away from his message. So what must Paul do? And what must the Corinthians do? And what must I do? What is one of the main keys to faithful, effective ministry? That's the question of the ages, isn't it? How can we be effective in ministry? Here's the answer that Paul gives: self-control. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. These athletes exercise self-control in their diet, in their training, in their sleeping, and what company they kept so that they could compete. They had self-control in all things, in all areas, to win the prize of a wreath that would wither within 2 days, and for the applause of man that would fade in the same amount of time. Think about all that effort, that mental, physical, emotional energy that those athletes endured in order to win a crown that was made up of celery and leaves and figs, and to hear the applause of man for a grand total of 2 minutes. But we live for the eternal smile of God and for prizes that infinitely showcase the glory and honor and dignity of God. When you pray today, please remember Elvis Garcia and his family, our missionaries in Arkansas. And also remember the Hungaza Lifeword broadcast that's heard in Rwanda, Congo, and Niger.